You're joking, aren't you? It's the Teesside Chef. What makes my doner kebab bread the best doner kebab bread you'll ever make or eat? Well, I'll tell you straight away, because I don't like keeping people waiting. The secret is using pizza flour type 00, doppio zero they call it in Italy, but I'm sure they don't pronounce it like that. Pizza flour will hold more moisture than ordinary bread flour or all-purpose flour and is more finely milled, giving a softer, silkier texture, making this Turkish bread recipe I have developed simply the best foil for all of your stuffed meat and vegetable sandwich desiderata. Yes, desiderata. I've been at the thesaurus again. So I added 1.5 teaspoons of salt to 500 grams of pizza flour, along with a teaspoon of sugar and 7 grams or 1 packet of instant dried yeast, before adding 150 millilitres of lukewarm water and 150 millilitres of lukewarm milk, along with 50 grams or 5 tablespoons of a liquid neutral oil and 50 grams of yoghurt. I'm using Greek yoghurt here, but normal yoghurt will be a spiffing addition also. Now, this will be quite a sticky dough early doors, and I will be using a machine to mix my dough, but stirring it first to assist the coming together process is always prudent, I believe. Plus, it keeps my machine in a good mood, which is always important, because as a lone YouTube grifter, I don't have any human company. I started mixing the dough on a slow speed and then sped up gradually for a total mixing time of 7 or 8 minutes really, but I can see that my mix is too wet and is not pulling away from the sides or bottom of my mixing bowl. And if you find yourself in a similar quandary, just add a couple of teaspoons of extra flour and that should do the trick, and it has for me, as you can see here. And just before I stop the machine, I like to drizzle in a little oil to lubricate everything and assist me in bringing the dough together with my hands before proving. And I'm rubbing some of that drizzled in oil up the sides of the bowl and also around the rim. The oil around the sides will prevent sticking, and the oil around the rim will help my cling film to stick. And how oil manages to perform a non-sticking and a sticking task at the same time seems like alchemy in my mind, but I am a bit simple, so I don't question things and just accept the world as it's presented to me. In any event, the dough needs to prove in a warm place now for around an hour until doubled in size, after which point we can get it out onto an oiled surface, which will once more prevent sticking rather than facilitating sticking. And I'm still a bit confused about this sticking paradox, but I'll just soldier on and form a roughly quadratic shape before cutting the dough into 8 almost equal-sized pieces, which I will then roll into smooth balls. And I did rest my balls for around 10 minutes before the next step, because if your balls are relaxed, they're much easier to manipulate, you see. But enough about my testicles. Let's roll each dough ball out with the aid of a little flour into an ellipse that's about as big as your outstretched hand, and if you're Andre the Giant, use somebody else's hand as a comparison. And the thickness of each outstretched hand-sized piece of dough will be around, 7 or 8 millimeters, would you say that is? And you will need to split the 8 breads across 2 baking sheets or do them in 2 batches. But wherever your bread logistics policy is, you will have to cover with oiled cling film once rolled out and let the dough have a second prove for around half an hour to 40 minutes. And one of the things that gets me the most frisky about these breads is the lovely deep golden colour, which is achieved by brushing with a beaten egg that's had a little splash of milk thrown in there. And be quite generous when you're brushing with the egg, and don't forget to go around the edges of the breads for the best aesthetic results. And if the deep golden colour gets me frisky, the introduction of sesame seeds on top makes me positively tumescent. Such a feeling of engorged enthusiasm that can only really be enhanced by the addition of nigella seeds. And as those seeds toast on top of the baking golden breads, they'll add a depth of flavour, a subtle nuttiness, a certain je ne sais quoi, you might say. Bake in a well preheated oven set to 230 degrees Celsius fan setting, and that's around 450 Fahrenheit, for 10 to 12 minutes, and the breads should puff up impressively and develop that deep golden colour that was getting me all full of vim and vigour earlier. And once they're done, I like to cover with a dry tea towel to let them steam as they cool. The breads are full of air, and the steaming will prevent the thin top getting crispy and brittle. So as we get in close and personal, we can see how soft and airy they are. We need to have a look inside, so let's cut into it very carefully with a serrated knife. And you do need to be very, very careful when cutting these breads, because there's almost nothing inside them. So light and soft and silky and flavourful, a real pleasure to eat in any situation, especially if you make my homemade doner kebab, and that video will be coming up next, so stick around for that. The greatest Turkish doner kebab bread you'll ever eat. Just try not to get too excited while you're doing it, like I'm inclined to do. I'll see you next time, eh? Ta-ra.